In August of 2018, I stood inside Austin City Hall late into the evening watching the City Council vote to approve an over $260 million stadium deal. I wasn't a billionaire. I wasn't a politician. I wasn't even what you call a sports guy. I was just someone who'd spent the past 5+ years building a supporter community, convinced we could will an Austin Major League Soccer team into existence. When I had started this journey, I felt like no other person rationally believed MLS in Austin was possible. The vote eventually passed 7-4. There's a song we sing about it in the stands even to today. 2.5 years later, in 2021, Austin FC played their first match. Today, I'm going to tell you what fandom taught me and what I taught Austin fandom. They're skills and philosophies which matter most to any community, movement, or organization, trying to build something people actually care about. My story starts well before I was introduced to soccer. In 2001, there was a viral marketing campaign for a Steven Spielberg movie called AI, Artificial Intelligence. It was called The Beast, with puzzles and stories hidden around the internet and across the world. Thousands of strangers, all walks of life, united by curiosity, collaborated to solve the overall mystery and follow this story together. If you've never heard of it, just imagine Slack and Reddit kind of smashed together with the energy of a fantasy football draft over a super laggy internet connection. So, a botanist, a lawyer, and a stay-at-home mom walk into a bar. I'm kidding. This is not the setup for a joke, but an example of the variety of people who otherwise never would have known each other. They're staying up till 2 a.m. in a chat room solving encryption codes together. This shared mission created bonds that transcended the mission itself. These weren't focus groups. We weren't customers. We were collaborators. And that changed everything about how we saw ourselves in relation to the thing that we loved. Think about the last thing you evangelized. Something you went on and on about to someone, unprompted, maybe even annoyed them a little, especially if it's a stranger in the elevator next to you. A restaurant, a show, like Friday Night Lights, a product. You didn't get paid to do that. You did it because you felt like you helped discover it. When people co-create the experience, they don't just consume, they evangelize. I've spent years chasing this feeling, an alchemy of community and mission. What impossible things have you been chasing? Or maybe you should start to chase. For me, it became soccer. This part of the story starts, like many good and ill-conceived stories, in an actual bar. I was living west of Philadelphia circa 2008. My British expat colleague named Ant periodically drags me out to his local pub to watch his team, Arsenal. A year or so into these outings, we learned Philadelphia was being awarded a Major League Soccer expansion team. Ant wants to start a community of 2 to support this new team. His team was founded in 1886, so the opportunity to build traditions and follow something new was novel to him. But here's what grabbed my attention. The Philly supporters groups, the Sons of Ben, had already been operating for 3 years. They showed up at hockey games chanting for a team that didn't exist. They crashed an MLS draft. They made themselves impossible to ignore until the league announced a team. I learned from this experience that you don't need permission to build the thing that proves you deserve the permission. They built confidence in the market by being the market. They didn't wait for the infrastructure. They became the evidence that the infrastructure was worth building. This works in any industry. The startup that blogs publicly before they have a product. The restaurant that builds a wait list before they have a location. The nonprofit that shows up before the funding arrives. It worked for us. Ant and I were at the Union home opener in 2010. My whole family became fans. My son was almost born at a match. I moved to Austin 3 years later, carrying this passion for soccer culture. So I started to take in the local scene. Austin had all the ingredients of a great soccer city. Top 5 TV ratings for national matches, passionate pockets of fans scattered across the city supporting the US and Mexican national teams, English Premier League fans, and the local Aztec semi-pro fans. But it lacked a center of gravity. There was no central community, no unified voice telling the world Austin is a soccer city. Maybe you've experienced something similar, an aha moment on a project, an eccentric interest you just know others might share, an inspiration that makes you go, maybe I can do that. You see the big picture first. Well, in December of 2013, I found myself with this thought. What if I could do what the Sons of Ben did? So I started the MLS in Austin movement with nothing but a Twitter account and a goal to connect lawyers and botanists and stay-at-home moms and maybe some soccer fans to help solve the mystery of how to bring a franchise to town. Now, starting a movement is rough. It eventually got there, but there was a lot of pain and slow going in the middle. Soccer is an amazing icebreaker, however. Even people who don't follow soccer have a thought or an opinion, or at a minimum, people will nod politely and go, Messi. Yes. I talk to soccer fans over and get laughed at, like you're laughing now. Fans of the local semi-pro team had been burned by the original franchise leaving for Orlando almost overnight to ironically improve their odds of becoming an MLS team there, which, well, they did. Orlando City SC is actually the original Austin Aztecs franchise. English soccer fans largely considered MLS to be an inferior product, and they didn't see the point in caring about any of this. I'm sure you've heard some version of pushback, whatever your thing was. A career change to TikTok influencer, a business venture selling left-handed hammers, your online relationship with that Nigerian prince trying to stash money in your bank account. Someone rational told you why it wouldn't work. The things I heard over and over, Austin is too small of a market. MLS doesn't want a third Texas team. Austin NIMBYs will never let a stadium get built. Austin will never get MLS. Many times I had thought, is this crazy? Is this dumb? Am I just in denial about this? Two things kept me going. My wife Tracy believing in me even when I didn't, and real data anchoring my passion. I wasn't guessing. Austin's TV rate numbers were real. The scattered fan base was real. I just had to help people connect the dots, to find a way to make the passion okay to embrace by making a rational argument. That came in the form of storytelling, giving people a vision of what could be. That lesson isn't about soccer. It's about meeting people in their reality and creating a bridge toward the reality I, or you, can already see. Oh, you prefer English soccer? Okay, well, if there's a stadium here, teams will travel for preseason friendlies to Austin. Want to watch national teams live? Wouldn't it be nice to just drive up the road instead of having to fly across the country? Or a common go-to, this is an opportunity for a team that represents the entire city. 2 years passed, and social posts led to newsletters, led to memberships, led to posting articles. Then in early 2017, I published a piece making the case that Austin won't get a team through expansion. But we might just get one through relocation. I'm told within MLS, this article even today is referred to as the Austin Pelican Brief. This led to a meeting with a jeans and boots wearing Austin lawyer in a Mexican restaurant having margaritas. This really happened. He pulls out a document signed by the commissioner of Major League Soccer and basically says he's legit and somebody to discuss an Austin soccer franchise with. This was a big moment of validation that I hadn't wasted years on this mission. A huge weight of relief was lifted. That lasted about a day. Then it landed right back on top of me, because now I was going to have to prove Austin will support a team. But not alone. We had a few hundred people in our growing community. People took on roles. Things got more organized. There was a podcast. We had merch. 3 months later, the owner of the Columbus Crew announces he's considering moving the team to Austin. And then everything explodes. The story becomes a national scandal. Save the Crew versus MLS in Austin. We go from this fringe idea to the conversation in American soccer. Suddenly, club owners and league executives are pointing to our grassroots community to justify the move and get a stadium deal approved. They need us to prove Austin will support a team, now not just in Austin, but throughout the country as well. They couldn't just manufacture what we'd built. They needed to leverage it carefully because they knew the moment it felt corporate, it would be worthless. Pepsi is one example of a company who learned this lesson the hard way. In 2017, they paid Kendall Jenner to hand a police officer a soda in a social justice ad. The internet didn't just criticize it, they torched it. Because you cannot buy credibility on something people actually live. The ad tried to have the right message. It had the right production budget, but it was completely the wrong source. Nobody believed it because nobody built it. Money can always buy exposure. It cannot buy evangelism. And what we had, years of real people, real arguments, real investment, all of the things they needed and something they couldn't write a check for. But it was time to evangelize in a new way. We renamed the group to Austin Anthem because we weren't just fighting to get a team anymore. We were building the culture this team would inherit. Our impact was so great that, to my knowledge, our Grackle logo is the only supporters group brand to ever appear on an MLS uniform. So our goals were aligned with the powers that be, and we were well organized. Everybody involved wanted the team. And ultimately, we had agency and influence because we had built something that couldn't be manufactured. And it worked. The stadium got approved. Austin FC was announced as the 27th team in MLS in January of 2019. Here's part of the story I didn't see coming, and the part most relevant to anyone who's ever built something they loved. When the mission was get the team, alignment was easy. Everyone was rowing in the same direction. When the mission became support the team, the business and the fans started diverging. The club wanted to guide the culture, sending a shirtless McConaughey to explain supporter culture to supporters on a Zoom. The fans wanted carte blanche, being able to set off smoke and potentially starting fires in the stadium. The club needed profit margins. Fans wanted $4 beers, not $22 IPAs. Season ticket holders lose money on ticket resales. The club makes money on every transaction. League sponsors reach out to groups like ours directly. Why? A more authentic connection to customers than their sponsorship deals provide them. And it's not just sports. Instagram used to show you your friends' photos. Now it's ads, reels you didn't ask for, and suggested posts from accounts you don't even follow. Uber was price competitive with cabs. Now it's surge pricing, hidden fees, and costs more than the taxi services they disrupted. Your airline ticket, $99. Then came seat selection fees, carry-on fees, breathing oxygen fees. Not that last one. You're laughing now, but that's going to happen. You know that feeling when something you love starts to feel like it's working against you? That's not an accident. That's a business model. The term for this is shitification. Creating high-quality offerings to attract users, then degrading those offerings to maximize short-term profits. In simple terms, things start off being great, and then start to suck more and more over time. Well, communities, they can shitify themselves too. Factions formed over the different ideas of what real fandom looked like. There were Austin supporters behind online attacks, doxing, conspiracy theories, even threats against me and my family. Behavior we'd come to expect from distant, angry fandoms was starting to take root within the community. You've probably been part of a group and it started to turn on itself, and maybe it wasn't this dramatic, but I'm sure you've been part of something and you felt it shift. I was part of the problem too. I had spent years completing an impossible mission, and when it was done, I kept running into the same patterns. The tactics that got the team were not the tactics that was going to build what came next. I knew how to fight for something. I hadn't figured out how to steward it. The person most likely to stand in the way of what's next is the one who bled for what came before it. Maybe you know someone like that. Maybe you are someone like that. I was. We all got along on the boat, but the moment we reached shore, it became a land grab. A unified collective became a misaligned mess. That's the kind of gap toxic fandom floods into. But good people, good ideas, and the good of the community also endured. 6 seasons into the club's existence, new generations of leadership are bringing new ideas, new challenges, and slowly, time and tradition and better alignment is helping battle shitification, quiet toxic elements. Community always evolves. Your job, our job, lean into it. It's been a privilege to get to share just a small part of this story with you today, but let me close out with a highlight reel. Data anchors passion. Don't just feel strongly, know why you feel strongly. I didn't convince Austin with enthusiasm alone. I showed TV ratings, paths to success, trends and patterns. Emotion gets attention, evidence will keep it. Align your missions before you negotiate. Before partnering with brands, teams, organizations, map where your needs overlaps with theirs. Austin Anthem has worked with local beer companies, regional sandwich shops, national footwear brands, global tire companies, because we found the win-wins. We've also turned down would-be partners who wanted our support and our audience didn't want to reciprocate. Money can always buy exposure. It can't buy evangelism. Figure out what you have that they can't manufacture, and that's where you unlock the value for everyone. Unity beats passion at scale. A divided, passionate community has less power than a unified, moderate one. You don't need everyone to agree on everything. You need everyone to agree on the one thing that matters most. Everything else, it's negotiable. Unity also solves something we don't talk enough about. Every year, new people discover a community for the first time. They show up alone. Make sure they leave feeling a connection. In a world with an epidemic of loneliness, fandom is a friend creation engine. But that only works if it lasts. Identify your impossible thing. The thing, when you say it out loud, people might laugh. If nobody's laughing, it might not be ambitious enough. My impossible thing is playing a match tonight. Yours might not make the news, but it's going to matter to someone. Probably someone who didn't think they even needed it yet. Find your Ants and your Tracys. They are the people who plant the seeds. They are the people who do laugh. And then they say, you should do it anyway, and I'm going to help. Hold on to them. Build in public. Don't wait for permission to build the infrastructure. Don't wait to craft a perfect message. Prove the thing should exist by making it exist. Iterate, evolve, adapt. And most importantly, give more than you hope to get. The communities that last in any kind of fandom, in business and life, they are the ones where everyone shows up to add value, not extract it. 25 years ago, I was, much younger, solving puzzles with strangers and newfound friends on the internet, building a community and creating connections that extend to today. Yes, we follow a soccer team, but I think more so, many of us are unified in a love of the soccer community we belong to. Much in the same way fans of anything unify or bond over, whether that's Star Wars, competitive knitting, or collective online mysteries. The medium changes, the rest doesn't. Passion is renewable, agency is built. Community is how the impossible becomes a story you're still telling 2 decades later. Thank you.